When it comes to periodontal treatment, those first 72 hours are absolutely critical. That's really where the battle for a successful recovery is won or lost. So today, we're going to do a quick, high-level briefing on a new adjunctive therapy that, based on the data, is decisively winning that battle.
Okay, let's just jump right in with the single most important number you're going to see today, minus 59%. Now just let that sink in for a second. What does a number like that actually mean for your patients?
Well, that number, that's a massive 59% drop in gum bleeding, bleeding on probing. And this is just 72 hours after adding PerioCream to the standard treatment. We're not talking about some long-term goal here. This is a real game changer, happening right in that immediate recovery window.
But, to really get why that number is so huge, we have to look at the baseline. What's the current standard of care that PerioCream is meant to improve?
So right now, the gold standard is scaling and root planing, or SRP. It's that essential deep cleaning for periodontal disease. And look, it's effective, but the aftermath, it can be pretty rough on patients. We're talking about real discomfort, bleeding, and inflammation. And that's exactly the problem that any good adjunctive therapy has to solve.
All right, now let's get to the really interesting part, the core of this briefing. We're going to look at a direct head-to-head comparison from a recent observational study. It pits standard care against care that's been enhanced with PerioCream.
The way they set up the study was super simple. You had one group of patients who just got the standard SRP. That's it. The second group, they got SRP plus an immediate application of PerioCream. Everything else was the same. The only thing that was different was PerioCream. Okay, so what happened after just 3 days? The results are, well, they're not even close. The PerioCream group saw that incredible 59% drop in bleeding. The other group, just 12%. And for inflammation, which they measured with a gingival index, the PerioCream group's score dropped by 1.4 points. That's more than 3 times the drop for SRP alone. The difference here isn't just statistically significant, it's clinically massive.
And this chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? I mean, visually, it's not even a fair fight. The benefit you get from adding PerioCream is just dramatic. We're talking about nearly 5 times less bleeding in only 72 hours. That's huge.
So, okay, these clinical numbers are pretty powerful, right? But what about the human side of things? How does this all translate to the patient who's actually sitting in the chair and for the clinician who's providing the care?
And really, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Better clinical numbers are one thing, but do patients feel any different? Is their recovery actually easier?
Well, the patient-reported data gives us a really clear answer. And the answer is a huge, resounding yes. Patients who got PerioCream reported more than double the pain relief. On a 10-point scale, their pain dropped by 4.5 points. Compare that to just a 2-point drop for the standard care group. That's a difference you don't just see on a chart. That's a difference patients can genuinely feel.
Yeah, think about that. A 4.5-point reduction in pain in just 3 days. This is the kind of number that completely changes the post-op experience. It takes it from something you just have to endure to a recovery that's actually fast and comfortable. And as you'd expect, that extra comfort leads directly to much higher satisfaction. Patients rated their experience an 8.6 out of 10 with PerioCream versus just 6.9 for standard care. And it wasn't just them. The clinicians were happier too, rating the outcomes an 8.8. I mean, it makes sense. They're seeing better, faster healing, which means they have happier patients. It's really a clear win-win for everyone involved.
So you have to be asking, why? What's the secret sauce here? What's the mechanism behind these really impressive results? Well, the answer comes down to its core technology, what they're calling the nitridine advantage.
Now, it's really important to get this. PerioCream isn't something the patient takes home, like a rinse or a gel. It's a bioadhesive cream that the clinician applies right there in the office immediately after the SRP. What it does is it forms this protective barrier over the treated tissue. And that barrier, which is powered by this patented nitridine formula, basically shields the sensitive area, helps it heal, and makes the patient feel more comfortable right away. And when you put it up against other common treatments, the advantages really stand out. Unlike chlorhexidine or CHX, you don't get those reports of staining or taste changes. And unlike silver diamine fluoride, there's no discoloration. So what you get with PerioCream is powerful clinical results, but with high patient comfort and a fantastic safety profile. Okay, so let's tie all of this together. What does this data really mean for the future of healing, especially in that super critical post-treatment window?
When you boil it all down, the evidence is pointing to 5 key things. With PerioCream, you're getting accelerated healing, much better patient comfort, superior clinical outcomes with less inflammation, and high satisfaction from both patients and clinicians. And on top of all that, you've got an excellent safety profile. It basically addresses all the main weak spots of the standard SRP recovery. And that brings us to one last thought. A bit of a provocative question, really. We spend so much energy focused on long-term maintenance, right? But what if? What if the key to that long-term success is actually locked up in those first 72 hours? If we can dramatically improve healing and comfort in that critical window, we not only get better results right away, but we also set the stage for better patient compliance and a more successful outcome down the road. The data really seems to suggest this is a window of opportunity we can't afford to ignore anymore.